All right, let's get back to that major shakeup from the White House. Mike Waltz is out as National Security Advisor. President Trump says he will be nominating Waltz to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. It is the first major change of the Trump administration. Let's get to CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion. Nikole, what's the path to confirmation? What does that look like for Mike Waltz for UN Ambassador?
Well, I think it's a little premature to speculate in the sense that we don't even have a confirmation hearing on the calendar as of yet, with this news still being relatively fresh. But that is something we're continuing to keep an eye on with respect to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee when and if it decides to schedule that confirmation hearing. But Democrats have already forecasted that this will likely be a very challenging confirmation process for Mike Waltz, considering the Signal Gate scandal that continues to swirl around him for his involvement in that text thread that included erroneously a journalist. So from that standpoint, that could certainly be a big flashpoint if and when we get to the point of hearings. Many Republicans, for their part, though, continue to be relatively supportive of Mike Waltz, even as they were surprised and a bit taken aback by the news that he would be departing his position as National Security Advisor. So from that standpoint, we certainly expect many Republicans would likely still support him, but again, a little too early to speculate at this point in time.
Right. Okay. Let's turn now to the president's big, beautiful bill, because we understand some of the committees that are working to draft it may need more time. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, this is something that we also continue to follow pretty closely here on Capitol Hill, in the sense that Speaker Mike Johnson has been very clear about maintaining an aggressive schedule with respect to trying to move this big, beautiful bill through his chamber. But we have learned that some of the key committees that are charged with marking up this legislation have yet to schedule those markups. And this is a critical part of the process, because this is, as we've kind of been describing over the last couple of days, where we really see lawmakers put pen to paper. We see those specific details, for instance, with energy and commerce. Where might they be seeking cuts with respect to Medicaid if they intend to target the program? Or in the case of House Ways and Means, how exactly are they going to extend the president's tax cuts? What credits stay in? What may come out? And then you also have the House Agriculture Committee, too, which is charged with dealing with, for instance, SNAP benefits, which has also been kind of a more controversial component of this bill, whether or not those will stay or go. Certainly Democrats have been concerned about the prospect of maybe those being stripped out or reduced for low-income families. So from that standpoint, it's going to remain a big open question mark as far as the path forward until these committees get to that point of marking up the bill. We expect perhaps maybe they just might wait a week or so before they do these markups, and House Republican leadership still feels that they are on track to try to get this through by Memorial Day, but they certainly will be running this very close to the finish line if in fact they do intend to try to get this done by the Memorial Day recess.
Okay. And we know a resolution just passed in the Senate that would roll back regulation on some of the most toxic air pollutants. How are lawmakers able to overturn this Biden-era law?
Well, this is something, too, that we have seen within this Congress, both on the House and Republican side, as a part of the president's agenda. Certainly, he has made clear that energy independence is a big part of his agenda. So we have started to see in both chambers attempts to try to roll back some of President Biden's clean energy measures. So that is what we saw in the sense of the Senate yesterday, taking up this resolution that basically would roll back provisions with respect to pollutants from chemical plants. Also in the House, I would note, we saw a vote earlier this week as well on a measure that would roll back a measure in California as far as their emission standards are concerned. So look, this continues to be a priority of the administration, which is why both in the House and the Senate, we have seen both chambers take aim at the former president's environmental policies.
Okay. President Trump, he has touted plans to build a Golden Dome in the U.S. to serve as a missile defense system. It would be similar to Israel's Iron Dome, which intercepts missiles and rockets there. Why are Democratic lawmakers raising concerns about the bidding process for this Golden Dome project?
Well, obviously, Congress is juggling a lot of issues right now, and so this is certainly one that has raised the concerns of some Democrats among many other issues. But the reality of it is that, again, Congress is juggling quite a bit with respect to this reconciliation package that still remains top of mind as far as Democrats are concerned, certainly Democrats and Republicans, I should note. And so that kind of remains chief among them, but also with respect to security concerns, certainly Democrats have taken issue with a number of the president's policies as far as that is concerned. So in terms of this dome project, it is certainly no different.
Of course not. All right, Nikole Killion, thank you so much for joining us on 24/7 today. Appreciate it.